She texted, "Can't make it tonight. Something came up." For the sixth time this month. I replied, "No problem at all." Then I used Find My iPhone to see where something actually was, her ex's apartment. When you've been with someone long enough, you stop needing explanations. You just start recognizing patterns. And when those patterns shift, you feel it before you can even articulate it. Her name's Lena. We've been dating for just over a year. Nothing movie perfect, just steady, familiar, easy. We met at a friend's birthday dinner. I was the guy who offered to walk her to her car in the rain. She was the girl who laughed too loudly at my bad jokes and texted me later that night, "You owe me an umbrella." She moved into my place 6 months later. We had our rhythm. Coffee together in the morning, late night DoorDash, mutual playlists on drives. I'm not dramatic. I don't snoop, don't cling. But I do notice details. And lately, the details weren't adding up. The first time she texted, "Can't make it tonight." Something came up. I didn't think twice. She was in marketing, always chasing last-minute client fires. But then it became a thing. Once, twice, 4 times. Always the same vague phrasing, always right before we were supposed to meet. No context, no follow-up, no apology. Just, "Can't make it tonight." Something came up. It started gnawing at me. That phrase, something. Not someone, not somewhere. Something. About 3 weeks in, she canceled again. We'd planned to go to her favorite sushi place. She texted me an hour before, "Can't make it tonight." Something came up. Rain check. I stared at the screen for a full minute, feeling that old, quiet unease in my gut. Not anger, just static. And maybe that's what made me open Find My iPhone. We'd shared locations months ago, back when things were uncomplicated. She was the one who insisted. Actually, safety thing, she said. I wasn't planning to check it. But that night, I did. Her phone pinged across town. Not at her office, not at her friend's apartment, but at a place I recognized, her ex's building. It was late. I sat in my parked car for half an hour, just staring at the dot on the screen. It didn't move. Not once. I wish I could say I felt rage, but what I felt was something colder, detachment. Like watching a rerun of a show you already know the ending to. The next morning, she texted like nothing happened. "Morning, babe, Red Heart, sorry about last night. It got crazy." I typed, "No problem at all," smiley face. And that was the first true thing I'd said to her in weeks. Because there really wasn't a problem anymore. Not one I needed to solve anyway. Over the next few days, I started quietly preparing. Call it emotional cleanup. I backed up the photos from my phone, just in case I ever needed to remind myself that it wasn't all fake. I changed my home Wi-Fi password. I made sure my spare key was accounted for. I even scheduled a flower delivery. Not for her birthday. Not for an anniversary. Just for closure. 3 nights later, she sent the same text again. "Can't make it tonight." Something came up. This time, I didn't even look at the phone tracker. I just scheduled the flower delivery through the same florist she'd once said was the only one who gets the colors right. A bouquet of lilies and white roses, her favorite. Delivery address, her ex's building. Delivery note. Something came up. "Don't worry, I understand completely." Hey, attached to the card, I had the florist include one of those small printed breakup cards. The kind with fill in the blanks you usually send as a joke. I checked every box. "It's not me, it's you. Let's not do this again. Best of luck." I didn't stay up waiting for her reaction. Didn't stalk her socials. Didn't even check the tracker. I just turned my phone face down and went to bed. The next morning, my phone had 13 missed calls and 22 unread messages. Her first text, "WTF did you do?" Then, "You're insane. He saw it. He thinks I'm stalking him. Why would you do that?" Then, "You ruined everything. Are you happy now?" I didn't reply. Because the truth was, I wasn't happy. I was done. That afternoon, she showed up at my door, banging like someone desperate. Her hair was messy, her mascara smeared. For a second, I saw the woman I'd loved. Tired, messy, real. Then she said, "You're sick for spying on me." And that word, spying, made me laugh. A small, bitter laugh that startled even me. "You asked me to share locations, remember?" I said, "I just checked what you wanted me to see." She stood there, trembling, trying to hold her indignation together. Finally, she said, "You didn't have to humiliate me." And maybe she was right. But humiliation wasn't what I'd been aiming for. It was clarity. That night, I packed her things into 2 boxes. Left them with the doorman the next morning. No fights, no speeches, no tears. Sometimes ending things quietly is louder than any argument. If you've ever done something that's both completely justified and borderline petty, you'll understand what the next few days felt like. It's not satisfaction. It's more like silence, the kind that hums in your ears. The flowers had done their job. Too well, apparently. The morning after she showed up at my door, Lena disappeared from my radar entirely. No texts, no calls, no social media activity. I didn't block her, but I muted everything. For the first time in months, my phone didn't feel like a grenade. Then, 2 days later, I got a call from an unknown number. Corporate number. My work line. This is HR. We received a report involving your name and a personal relationship. Do you have a moment to discuss? My stomach dropped. I'd worked at the same firm for 7 years. Finance adjacent, high compliance, all that. We'd just gone through a big HR training about workplace relationships and appropriate personal conduct. Apparently, Lena's ex's current girlfriend, yes, he had one, worked at a sister company, under the same HR umbrella. She'd filed a complaint after the flower delivery incident, claiming it was an unprofessional escalation that made her uncomfortable. She wasn't accusing me of harassment directly, but she implied retaliatory behavior in a shared business context, which meant HR had to formally review. The irony? I hadn't even known this other woman existed. They scheduled a Teams call the next morning. 2 HR reps, 1 legal liaison. I kept it calm, factual, boring. Yes, I was in a personal relationship with Lena. No, she's not employed by our firm. Yes, I arranged a flower delivery. No, it wasn't a threat or harassment. It was a breakup gesture, done privately. I didn't tag anyone, post anything, or contact her workplace. I even emailed them the receipt from the florist, time-stamped, clean, nothing aggressive in the message. One of them asked, "Did you know she was at her ex's residence when you sent them?" I said, "I didn't confirm that, but I was aware of her personal connection to the address." They went quiet for a moment, typing notes, probably. Then the legal guy said, "Technically, this doesn't violate policy. It's just an unusual situation. But since it involved another employee tangentially, we'll close it with a note of resolution." That phrase, note of resolution, felt like bureaucratic absolution. After the HR call, I texted a mutual friend, Jason. He'd been close to both of us before everything fell apart. "Hey, just so you hear it from me, if anyone mentions some flower incident, it's handled. Don't engage." He replied almost instantly, "Dude, you became a legend. Half the friend group thinks it's savage, the other half thinks you need therapy." I laughed, genuinely laughed, for the first time in weeks. Then he added, "She's telling people you stalked her with Find My iPhone." And just like that, the humor evaporated that I didn't want to fight back. I just wanted truth to exist somewhere other than her version. So I did what I always do when things start spiraling. I documented. I exported our text thread as a PDF, all 400 messages. Every something came up. Every sorry. Got caught up at work. Every location ping she'd consented to share months prior. Then I forwarded the file to myself, timestamped backup, just in case. Didn't send it to anyone else. Didn't leak screenshots. Just stored it. Because lies have a shelf life. They rot from their own inconsistency. A week later, I got a text from an unfamiliar number. "Can we talk? Please. Just 5 minutes. It's important." It was Lena. I ignored it. 5 minutes later, another text. I told HR it was a misunderstanding. I said it was mutual. I shouldn't have said the stalking thing. I panicked. I stared at it for a while. That one sentence, "I panicked," was her entire character distilled. She didn't lie because she wanted to destroy me. She lied because she couldn't stand the silence of being caught. I didn't reply. Mutuals started dropping off quietly after that. Some took her side. Some didn't want to be in the middle. A few reached out just to say they hoped I was okay. It was strange how quickly social gravity shifts after a breakup that goes public. You stop being a person and start being a narrative people discuss over drinks. I learned to stop correcting them. People who want gossip don't want clarity. 2 weeks later, Lena sent one last message. "You didn't deserve that. Any of it. I keep thinking about the flowers. I don't even know if you meant it to hurt me, but it did. In a way that forced me to see myself clearly. You were always calm. I think that's what scared me the most." I read it once, then archived it. Not because I didn't care. Because I finally did. About myself, if you've never been gaslit by someone charming, here's what it feels like. You start apologizing for noticing. You start doubting patterns you can see right in front of you. You start shrinking yourself to keep the peace. And then one day, you stop. Not with fireworks or closure, just a single, quiet realization. You can't fix what thrives on being misunderstood. Update 1. It's been 3 months since the flower incident, as some of my friends jokingly call it. I've switched jobs, moved apartments, and for the most part, I've been okay. Not great, not healed, just functional. And honestly, that's progress. I didn't think I'd ever hear about Lena again. I didn't block her, mostly because I wanted to know if she'd try anything legally or professionally, but she disappeared completely. Her social media was wiped clean. New handle, new photos, new life reset. And then, 2 weeks ago, I got an Instagram DM from an account I didn't recognize. No profile picture, just the name Mark. Hey, I think we should talk. About Lena. At first, I ignored it. I thought it was bait or some weird revenge setup. Then he sent a screenshot, a picture of my flowers. The same bouquet, same note, taken from a slightly different angle. That's when I realized who he was. Her ex. The one whose apartment she'd been at. He told me he'd found the picture while going through his iCloud backups. Apparently, Lena had taken it herself and texted it to him right after I sent them, with the message. He knows. Mark said they'd stopped talking after that day. She'd freaked out, left the city for a while, and when she came back, she'd tried to rekindle things under the guise of closure. He didn't bite, but then he said something that stopped me cold. She told me she thought you had hacked her phone, that you were dangerous, that HR at your company was investigating you for harassment. He said it like he wanted to confirm whether it was true, not as an accusation, but out of confusion. I told him the whole story as plainly as I could. The constant lies, the can't make it texts, the resort charges, the GPS pings. He listened quietly and didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he sighed and said, "She told me almost the same things about me, just with different details. That I was too controlling, that I was watching her. It's her script." We talked for about half an hour. He wasn't angry, more like exhausted. He'd been with her for 3 years before I met her, and said the last 6 months had been a psychological circus. Apparently, she'd been running the same pattern for a while, pushing people to chase her, testing their patience, then flipping the story to make herself the victim when they stopped trying. And somehow, we'd both fallen for it. He said, half joking, "You sending those flowers might have been the only thing that ever broke through to her." I didn't laugh, but I understood what he meant. A few days later, he sent me another message, a link to a private Facebook post, one of those vague, personal growth rants people write after therapy. Lena had posted it publicly for a few hours before taking it down. It said, "When you live off attention, the worst punishment isn't anger or silence, it's indifference." I learned that too late. That line hit harder than I expected, because as much as I wanted to feel vindicated, all I felt was tired. There's no victory in being right about someone's brokenness. It just makes you more aware of your own boundaries and how fragile they were to begin with. After that, I deleted the screenshots, the texts, everything. Not out of forgiveness, but because I realized I didn't need the evidence anymore. I wasn't building a case. I was closing one. Mark and I still talk sometimes. Weirdly enough, it's not awkward. We both ended up seeing the same therapist recommendation he gave me, and it's helping. Turns out recovery isn't about winning. It's about learning not to seek closure from people who benefit from leaving you open. I don't know where Lena is now. And for the first time since all this started, I genuinely don't care. Final update. I didn't think I'd post again, but I guess I owe the internet that strange sense of closure that real life rarely provides. 6 months have passed since everything with Lena. It feels like a different lifetime. I moved again, smaller place, but it's mine. No shared key, no extra toothbrush, no half-empty wine bottle waiting on the counter. The silence here doesn't hum like it used to. It's peaceful now. I still work with the same company that hired me after I left my old job. Different city, different people. No gossip trailing behind me. It's amazing how normalcy can feel like a luxury after chaos. For a while, I thought I'd become numb. I avoided dating, kept my circle tight, even stopped using social media. Every time someone texted, "We should grab a drink," I found a reason to stay home. It wasn't bitterness. It was self-preservation disguised as introversion. Then, a few weeks ago, something small shifted. I was at a conference, and during a break, I ran into one of Lena's old coworkers. I didn't even recognize her at first. She looked uncomfortable, like she was expecting me to be cold or angry. But she said quietly, "Hey, I don't know if this means anything, but Lena's been getting help. Real help. She's in therapy. Her mom made her go." That caught me off guard more than it should have. Her mom. It made me think of that one message she'd sent me months ago, the only one that had ever stuck in my head. "Stay home. She'll figure it out." I remember thinking, how do you say something that calm when your daughter's blowing up her own life? Now I understand. Because sometimes love isn't rescuing someone. It's letting them collapse until they decide to rebuild. The coworker said Lena had asked about me once. Apparently, she'd said, he was the only person who never screamed back. I didn't know what to do with that information. I still don't. But it doesn't hurt anymore. It just exists. Like an old scar you can touch without flinching. That night, when I got back to my hotel, I went through my archive folder, the one with our old texts, screenshots, receipts. I kept it on a flash drive out of habit, just in case. Then I dragged it into the trash and hit delete. No ceremony, no dramatic music, just the quiet tap of a key. Because the truth is, you don't heal by proving you were right. You heal when you stop needing to. These days, I still check locations sometimes, my own, when I hike alone or travel late, but never someone else's. Not because I've lost trust, but because I've learned it's not something you can monitor into existence. Last week, I started seeing someone new. We met through work, not in that messy office romance way, just two people who shared too many late-night project calls and the same dark sense of humor. It's slow, cautious, quiet. I like that. She doesn't ask where I am every hour, and I don't feel the need to prove I'm trustworthy. It's strange how peace feels so foreign after you've lived in emotional noise for too long. I'm not sure if Lena ever really figured it out. Maybe she's still in the process. Maybe we both are. But I think about that message her mother sent me. "Stay home. She'll figure it out." And I realize it wasn't advice about her. It was about me. So I stayed home. And eventually, I did.